9, 8.
You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Hey, Des, we got a full show of the Geek Chat today, so we better get right to it. Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Geek Chat on The Experience. I'm Rich.
I'm Des.
And we are here on The Experience, which is the greatest station ever. You can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, and wherever else.
The moon.
The moon.
You can see us on the moon.
So head to Facebook, like The Geek Chat, and be sure to go to comicshoppingexperience.com, sign up with a mailing list, and then see what shows are on when, because on The Experience, there's something on every day.
Yep, and there's talking shows like ours, shows where you could buy variant covers and variant comics, stuff where you can just buy regular comics. So there's a plethora of different stuff that you can check out. So please tell your friends about it, share,
yeah,
subscribe to The Experience, and we'll entertain you for as long as you'll have us.
And before us is What's in the Box with Miss Jen, and she had some real odd, when you talk indie books, she had indie books like Fishin' Chicken, which the subtitles came up Fish and Chicken. It was hysterical.
Love it.
Yes. Hey, Barlord. So
welcome in.
So I would like to say that we lost a legend of comic books that a lot of people might not know who she is. Her name was Trina Robbins. She died yesterday. She was actually the first woman to ever draw Wonder Woman. Let that sink into your mind. The first woman to draw Wonder Woman. And I believe it was 30 years after.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we lost her. She was one of the creators of It Ain't Me, Babe, the first comic book made exclusively by women. In 1985, she was the first woman to draw a full issue of Wonder Woman and then a full run after 4 decades of male drawing. And then in 1994, she founded the Friends of Lulu, an advocacy group for female comic book creators and readers. And there was a great post in the New York Times and in Forbes magazine, and she influenced so many people. A really good friend of the show and mine, Brian Anderson, was a huge friend to her. They actually put a book out together. I know her and her husband, Steve Lilola, who you might know from G.I. Joe and Spider-Woman.
Mm-hmm.
They are our neighbors, so we would run into them all the time. She was an amazing woman.
And she'll be sorely missed. Yes. So definitely go out, take a look at her stuff. This is a fantastic time to reacquaint or get to know her work. It was very phenomenal. This is a page that she did in Who's Who in the 80s. I actually have this issue.
Yep.
So this
was my first introduction to her.
Yeah, she did a lot. And just to say, there's a lot of unsung heroes out there making comics and breaking down barriers. And, she was a pioneer.
Yep.
And I met her a couple of times. She probably doesn't remember me because when you have such a reach and you meet so many people and change so many lives, it's hard to remember everybody. But I know that she always had a big heart. So we're going to dedicate this episode to her. And please, after this is all done, go out, look up her stuff, read something small. It doesn't have to be her whole biography, but at least read some stuff.
Read a little something.
Yeah. So I'm going to say hello to Paul. Welcome in. Hi,
hey,
Phil.
Hey, Phil.
I'm back from Japan. We took last week off. It was a little crazy for me. I was in Osaka and then I went to Kyoto, and then I was in Japan. So I was only in Kyoto for a day, but it was fantastic. I spent way too much money on video games and Ultraman figures.
Oh, I can't wait to see the new
I
figures.
bought a ton of figures, and it was crazy. So I literally, and it's always fun because Rich and I used to go to Comic-Con a lot, and together we used to go to Comic-Con a lot together, and we'd walk around, and it was always that trick of making sure that you had enough room to pack your stuff and the stuff that you bought. So yeah. And Barlow says, I'd say it was more you took advantage of an opportunity. I really did. I went and I saw tons of toys, tons of model kits. The one thing about Japan that's really kind of not really sad, but it's kind of there's not that many comic book stores.
Really?
Yeah, there's not. Because there's because I mean you could buy them, a lot of the stuff you can just buy at bookstores.
Oh,
there's like a lot of manga and stuff like that, but as far as Western comics, like I didn't see a lot of them. I saw a lot of Shonen Jump and some other stuff, but no other real mainstream comics. I mean, like Spider-Man and stuff like that, but yeah, it was pretty interesting. The city is fantastic. Both Osaka and Tokyo are just fantastic. Went to Akihabara, went to a baseball game.
What? You went to a baseball game?
I was there with my friend Joe, and he loves baseball, and so we went to it was the Swallows versus the Tigers. And the Tigers are they won the Japanese big baseball thing. They won it last year,
like our World Series.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And so they're from Osaka, and the Swallows are from Tokyo. And so we were at the Swallows home field, and the field was built in 1907 or something like that. So it's like a really old field, a really old diamond.
Mm-hmm.
And the diamond's actually smaller. The stadiums are actually smaller than American baseball, so it's actually smaller. But it was crazy because every player has their own sort of theme song that the crowd sings.
Oh,
so you have to understand that I was on the side. I was right by first base, and this is where the Swallows were, and then the third base was, and the outfield is where the Tigers people were, and then on the other side was where the Sparrows were, and the area where the Tigers were was completely packed, and they chanted all night long. They were chanting for everybody all night long, and it was just they were waving flags, and they had clackers, and they had these small little bats that you bang together. It was the noisiest baseball game I had ever been to. And
that's how I felt when I went to the Oakland A's.
No,
they're noisy because they have all the noisemakers and the drums and everything. But I can imagine it on steroids.
But this was but the thing is they weren't just yelling to yell. They were singing stuff, and it was all chants, and they had different chants for everybody, and it was just they would cycle it out. Oh, and so pitchers have to hit in that league.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
they did away with that here.
Yeah, all the pitchers have to bunt and stuff, and it was just really kind of interesting. And so it's so funny though because they have the pitcher for the Swallows was this huge lumberjack looking guy with this big beard, and I'm like, what the hell? So it's very funny, just the contrast, but it was
Paul
fun.
went to a kabuki show.
See,
I would want to do both. I would have wanted to have done both.
Well, Joe and I were going to go to a wrestling match, New Japan Pro Wrestling, on Saturday, but we were too tired and we tapped out, and we just had dinner with everybody and stuff. So we just had to tap out because we did so much. We went to Disney Sea, we went to Universal Studios, we went to Mount Fuji tour. We did the shrines in Kyoto. So it was crazy. It was crazy. And I have to say that if you ever have the opportunity to go to Japan, please do so. It is such an amazing experience. And but also bring a towel. Tally says, bring a towel.
Why?
Yeah, there's no there's no towels in the washrooms. So
what do you dry your hands on?
Your clothes.
That's gross.
It's weird. So
That's
I mean, every
gross.
now and then in the more Western style places, they will have like the air blades that are Dyson, like the ones that they have at the Metreon, stuff like that. They'll have those, but normally, nope. So
And
people,
for everyone wondering and watching, the Metreon is
Oh,
our
it's-
local movie theater.
yeah. So sorry. So every now and then you'll see like an air blade that'll dry your hands, but no, they carry a little. Japanese folks just carry a little towel in their purse or in their pocket, and they pull it out and they dry their hands and put it back in the pocket like a handkerchief or something. That's just what they
Wow.
do. Yeah, but the cities were just clean, and I didn't see hardly any homeless people. It was just crazy. Like everything is just there's no garbage cans hardly anywhere.
Where
There's
do
like
you
maybe
put your garbage?
you carry it.
Oh,
You carry it with you. You have like a little bit of like you get a plastic bag, you carry that shit with you. And I was
until
walking
you get home.
until you get home or until you get a place until you see a place where it has
Wow.
like every like I think I saw maybe two full-on trash cans in the street, like in the corners and stuff, like on the corner of a street. And I was like, oh wow, and so I used that, but no. And then if you try to like throw your garbage into like a restaurant's garbage, they're like, no, don't do that. Don't do
Wow.
that. It's very interesting. So we end up carrying a lot of garbage around with that. But yeah,
And then you come home and you have to watch X-Men.
I actually handhelds. Yes, there's no handhelds.
Yeah.
So yes, I actually watched X-Men while I was there. So
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I watched them again. So I was watching them on my phone, and so Paul's over there. It's like, so this will all make sense when I watch it, huh? Later, and I'm like, yeah, I will. Just throw it back. So I watched them, and then we watched them again. So I watched last week's, and then we watched we watched last week's, and then we watched this week's together. So I actually watched last week. So yeah.
So let's talk about last week.
Episode 4, man. I think that was good. Hi, Kenneth. I think that was a good kind of palate cleanser to what's been going on. We kind of needed a breather episode. But that ending, like, I don't know what they're doing with X-Men. Like they are just like, I know it's weird. You know what it reminds me of?
Wow.
This is going to sound really weird as I'm bringing it back to Japan. When you watch a Japanese show,
yeah,
like that's for kids, they have people dying. Like the Power Rangers in Japan, they have characters that die. Like there are real consequences. It's all silly and stuff. It's giant people and robots, but they actually die and they're put into these dire situations. And you don't really see that in most American cartoons. And this show is sort of kind of walking that line between this adult content with PG-13, PG-15 kind of situations. And it's just very interesting. And I bring that up because of episode 5, but we're talking about episode 4 right now. And I believe the whole Motendo thing and all that stuff and the 8-bit the 16-bit graphics and them going into the digital world, and then
it was something light and fun.
Yeah, but I didn't realize that the woman who was doing the voice of the
Obsessa.
Yeah, she was the original Jubilee.
Yes, and she gave it up because she thought that it should be I don't remember what Jubilee is. Japanese?
I think she's Japanese.
Mandarin? I can't remember.
Yeah.
She wanted someone of that to do.
Yeah,
not
of that race. Yeah.
And I love it that they brought her back. I love that once again it's from the comics. They took things from real life, the video games. They really did a good job in that first half of making it. What did you think of the kiss? I mean, come on now.
I think it's fine. This is
Roberto and Jubilee.
I have to admit, I think it's fine. Because I think it's fine because we are getting. I'm able to. as I'm getting older, I'm able to divorce myself from the comics versus the animation versus the movies versus all this other medias that are coming up.
Up,
And
BBB Haunted Basement. We're talking about 4 right now. 5
yeah,
is next.
yeah, we're talking about 5 in a minute, but that 4 was just, it was just great. And I think what's so great about, what people are really, gravitating towards is the fact that even though there is like tons of nostalgia bait in there, it's not thrown in your face. And I think that's what's so cool and what's different about what like JJ Abrams did with like the first Star Wars, the new Star Wars, the last Star Wars, the beginning of the last trilogy. It really seemed like a reaction of the first movie. It seemed like they're telling a new story, but also adding stuff from the past. And just the
Do you mean past the X-Men's past or the comic book history past?
The 90s.
The 90s total.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you're getting stuff from the X-Men's past. You're getting stuff from the animated, shows past, and you're getting stuff from the 90s. So you have like all these giant nostalgia things that are kind of like put in there as Easter eggs, and that's where they belong. That's what's so crazy about this show is it captures the 90s in such a good way that it makes it seem universal. And I think that's what people are one of the things that people are really gravitating towards. And and seeing Mojo, at first I wasn't sure if I would like Mojo's voice, but it just grew on me, and I totally it totally made sense that Mojo's voice would be that sort of like high pitched, sort of like nerdy gamer, stereotype kind of crazy voice. And it just like everything made sense. And when older Jubilee started using her powers, and younger Jubilee was like, wow, I could do that. And so she was actually learning and evolving, and I think that's what's so great about Jubilee's character in this show, and how, she is making she is making Roberto even more okay with being a mutant. Like I really like Roberto's journey as it's parallel to what Jubilee did when she was younger.
Oh, I love that about this. Yeah.
It's fantastic. So that's why I don't mind the kiss. That's why I don't mind Roberto sticking there. That's why I don't mind that eventually we will get New Mutants. Mark my words, we will get New Mutants, and Jubilee will be on that team. Yes, BB Haunted Basement. Mojo is fantastic. I love Longshot. Part of me had wished that it was Longshot that was helping them, but when it turned out to be an older version, a hacked version of Jubilee, totally understood it. What was your thought about it? Did you like Mojo's reputation and Spiral?
Oh, I love Spiral.
That's what you get that's what you get when you kill Tex apart.
Well, she's got enough arms. So 2 things. You were talking about why people might gravitate to the show. For my biggest thing of what I think is one of the most solid aspects is the respect and to the past of the comic books, and the fact that they're going to take a comic book. The Madeline Pryor story was like 7 years in comic books. We read it, and they boiled it down to where someone that doesn't know the books still understands kind of, somewhere along the line, Jean was taken, somewhere along the line Madeline was put in. It's not a hard concept. We don't know the answers, but they took something that took 7 years, 8 years of story of, them meeting, the wedding, mastermind, the whole thing with the Marauders trying to kill her. She ends up in the outback. Her story in comics, she's been a little bit of everything. And they managed to make her something. And then we see in 5, she's not done with the mutants, but we're still talking about 4.
Which is fantastic.
Yes. So the fact, and then they took Life Death, which was one of the most beautiful books, Barry Windsor Smith. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, I have it.
The art, when I first saw that art, I was like, what is this? This is gorgeous. And then the story, if you've been following it along, you know of the thing with Forge, and then he built the device that took Storm's power, so he felt something, and then the adversary. But again, you're not going to get Shaman coming in, and you're not going to get all that. And they boiled it down to what that 15 minutes was, and what I believe next week's episode is going to be Life Death Part 2. It's either this week or next. It's one of the weeks coming up. So they took this longer story and put it into 15 minutes, and it made sense.
Well, it's only 10 minutes.
That was only 10?
Yeah, it was only 10
wow.
minutes. Yeah.
But still, it made sense. So Coog has never read any of the Life Death. He hasn't read many of the stories that they've been showing, but he gets it. Well, he's been reading comics for a long time, but you understand that kind of narrative.
The whole thing between Forge and Storm was so good, you know, and just when
she slapped him, I was like, yes,
yeah, like it just makes sense, you know, of what was happening, and then him calling her on her pride, and her saying, like, you know, you're trying to fix your own mistakes, and this whole thing that like everything, the writing is just so tight and it's so good, and I think they're smart because they know they only have a certain amount of time to tell this stuff. And I do believe that we're going to see scenes from Forge being in a war and using that stuff and calling forth the adversary who's hunting, you know, him in his past. Like, we're going to get more of his life. I think that's what's so great about it. You know?
Did you catch the pictures on the wall?
Fancy, and that's another thing. It's like they're alluding to so many things from the past that we haven't seen as viewers, that they can actually build upon to grow out this universe. And it's a shame because of how X-Men 97, sorry, the original X-Men animated series ended, that we couldn't have had all this. But now, because we got the mouse backing them, and it's doing gangbusters.
Oh, this show's doing amazing.
Yeah, so
especially after 5.
Yeah, now that 2 and 3, you know, season 2 and 3 are now, you know, greenlit.
Yeah,
they're gonna have this ability to now, you know, really explore the mythos and actually do more with it. And that's what I love about it. That's why I think we're gonna get New Mutants. That's why I think we're gonna get X-Force.
So a couple things real quick.
Hold on. BB Hounded Basement says, that's what I told you. Notice that they've taken these long stories and can content them to really understand, and contents them into really understandable short stories for the viewers to understand. And I think that's a great way to translate TV or printed material or long form printed material into TV. Is you get those bites, you know, those bites that made that story sing, and then you animate those. And I think that's what's so great about this series so far. And I do believe that we're never gonna get the experience says Dez's shoulder keeps popping in and out of existence. Did you go back in time and interfere with your parents? No, this is definitely not a Back to the Future moment. It's just I need a green screen, because as you can tell, I'm out front of the Avengers tower. Yeah, I'm across the street. They wouldn't let me in, those bastards. But again, I do think that we will be getting a lot more of the story. I do hope that Storm doesn't have her powers for a little while longer. I think this will help her. I really believe this will help ground her, because I think one of the things about Storm, as she's portrayed in here, is she's taking it for granted of being this goddess and being this mutant, and now she's not. And so to give her to make her live like this, you know, I think is a great way to humanize her character, because I don't know. And that's the thing. It's like, she has been classified as an Omega level mutant in the show. So is Magneto, but those are the only two that they've actually said they are Omega level mutants. So, you know,
I thought they did with Jean.
See, that's the thing. I don't know if they did with Jean. I don't remember. Someone in the chat, if you
Yeah.
if you remember them saying diagnosing, have you noticed them registering her as a Omega level mutant? I would love to hear that, because
So-
I'm just flabbergasted by everything that's been going on. Real quick, how are you liking Magneto's portrayal so far?
I'm loving it. Like, I love it. Like, love.
Okay, because
I do.
he does come off like a hard ass, and I think that's
He
and
did
given-
in the comic books too.
Yeah, and I
When
think
he took over. So when he took over the X-Men, when Charles was in France, the whole thing with the trial, he came back, and the New Mutants were in the mansion.
Yep.
And he was a hard ass on all of them, which made them really not like him. And then he was working with the Hellfire Club, and they really didn't like him. And that's when he was like, you make a choice, me or go. And so that I kind of feel like they're taken from the comics in that way, in that he realizes he has messed up in life. Charles is giving him, here is your last chance. Yeah. And I think that is the whole reason why 3 took a turn for him, because he's like, I did some horrible things. Charles is giving me another chance.
Yeah.
So
and I do, and
he's got to be hard ass.
Yeah. And that's why I think when this is over and Charles comes back, he will be leading the X-Men, and then they will spin off Magneto into the New Mutants TV series, and Jubilee will go over there with Roberto
instead of being Kitty,
because I think that will bridge the gap between, or make people who know Roberto and Jubilee's story will then follow them over there and Magneto over there to see what's going on. Because one of the things that this show was missing, which I don't think is bad, but if this is a school, where are all the kids?
Yeah.
So they had no like enrollments. It's like, so we need to see some kids running around this school. Like, I'm happy that we're back at Westchester. We don't have to go to Westchester in the comics, but I'm happy that we're there in the books. Yeah. Okay, so everybody, so we're gonna take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk about 5, and then we're gonna talk about some new announcements of X books. So the X people are firing on all cylinders. So stay tuned if you want to catch that ride.
Did you know that Arthur, King of the Britons in Monty Python and the Holy Grail was played by a famous Graham? Check out another famous Graham by following our Instagram.
You love comic books. You collect comic books. But even if you own a rare, expensive issue, it's still a copy. How would you like to own a piece of comic book history? The actual art pages the comics were made from? Oh no, you say. That's too expensive. Regular people can't afford that stuff. Can they? Nick Ferrucci says yes. Join the founder of Dynamite Entertainment for the original art experience on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. Incredible art at almost unbelievable prices. Does he have some high-dollar pieces for the high rollers? Sure, but Nick always makes sure to find amazing pieces priced for the fledgling collector. You can collect original comic art. The original art experience. Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Part of the experience.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Yo, you are watching the Geek Chat on the Experience. I am Rich,
I'm Des.
and be sure to watch the Experience every day. On Thursdays, though, because it's Thursday, Geek Chat Day, we have bright and early in the morning, 8 a.m. Jam Comics. Two great guys selling comic books. They're a lot of fun. Then Dan Wickline show at 5 Eastern. What's in the Box with Miss Jen? That would be 6 Eastern. Us at 7 Eastern. 5, 6, 7. No.
It's 8.
8.
3 hours.
I hate this time stuff. And then Sketch Up with Mog and Mel. They're on at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. And I was going to save this till the third half, but Drew Moss, the artist of Thundercats, the current Thundercats, is going to be their guest tonight. So be
Awesome.
sure to watch. It's going to be a great show.
Shine that light in the sky.
Yes. So, did you know that they forecast the whole episode 5 at the end of episode 3 in Jean's dream?
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes.
Crazy.
That weird Terminator thing that happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I don't know where to start with 5. I don't know where to start. It started off, I was one of the happiest people. I'm like, oh my God, there's Marrow. Look, it's Pixie and Water Boy or whatever they call him, Rain Boy, or I think it's
And there was Nature Girl was there.
Nature Girl.
Blob Herman.
Yeah.
Was
And
there.
his bird.
I was Nightcrawler.
Dazzler.
Dazzler was there.
It was amazing. You're like, oh my God, this is so much fun. But Twitter
I knew
spoiled
they
it
were
for
doomed.
me.
I knew they were doomed.
Yes.
Even before spoilers, I knew they were doomed.
Yeah. And then E for Extinction. I wanted to get that cover and I just completely forgot about it. But we talk about all the different books that they borrow from and Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely, when X-Men went to New X-Men. Wow. Yes, E for Extinction, Sentinels show up.
Yeah. So what I like about it is how they are changing up the timeline, because if you notice, this is all, it's like they're mixing 4 or 5 different timelines together.
Right.
Because you see Madeline Pryor and you see Sebastian Shaw, and they're Hellfire all the way. Their outfits tear that up and make it seen. They're the Hellfire Club.
Yes, and it was a Hellfire Gala.
Exactly.
As BB Haunted Basement said.
Yes.
It was a Hellfire Gala that was just created within the last 5 years. 6 years.
But I think what was great was the outfit she was wearing was classic. So she's still a villain. So it makes me think, is this going to be, are we going to see more of her? Does she become an X-Men? Is this her becoming an X-Men? Or is this him becoming a part of the Hellfire Club? It's like there's certain ways that they could go with this. Even before the Sentinel happened, the different threads that they were, or the seeds that they were planting. Because I was thinking, okay, you have E for Extinction, you have the Genoshan, you have the Island issue of Genosha. But during Magneto's trial, and while he was wearing that outfit, that was the time when he was the Black King.
Right.
So like there's so many, and that's what I mean. That's what's so great about this is there's so many different places they can pick from in the rich continuity of the book.
Yeah.
To take us multiple different places. And I'm like, that's what I think is really cool. So when the spoiler, when the Sentinel hits and starts wrecking shop, you could go anywhere from there. You could, we haven't seen Emma Frost. I really hope that she survived.
So I have a feeling that happening will activate her diamond form and she'll come out of the rubble in her diamond form. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to die either. She's too big of a character in the comics, and just the zeitgeist of X-Men for her to be killed like this, especially off screen. So I do think that she will be back. I think that everything that happened between Rogue, Magneto, and Gambit was fantastic. I thought the writing in that, what she said, you light up everyone's life, but mine. Whoever you touch, you light up their lives, but except for mine. Because you can't touch her. Just all that stuff, and him saying, okay, this is what you chose. Let's just be friends. And he was like, straight up, like deuces. And Magneto making that power play for Rogue, and just her coming to her senses, during the dance. So it's just all these things that were happening was just fantastic. Just amazing.
Okay, now flip it.
Great.
Let's talk about Scott in front of the cameras acting out at Trish Tilby,
which is great. I think that's always, and I think that's another place we could go, because now we're going into militant Scott territory. Is this going to cause a schism, between the factions? And it's justified. All the crazy shit that's happened to this man is justified, and all the stuff between Jean and Madeline. Madeline showing up, and the fact that even though Jean is the original, they can't determine whose memories are whose. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a fantastic way to allow Madeline to be a complete person outside of Jean Grey, because that was always established in the comic books, that she was the clone, period, point blank. Yes. Everything was a lie. And Scott reinforced that by leaving her in the comics. This one actually says no, it wasn't a lie, because we don't know what happened. The only thing you do know is that Madeline Pryor gave birth to Cable, and that is such a strong statement. Even they didn't even know who the Phoenix was, if it was Madeline or if it was Jean, and I think that's fantastic. I think it was Jean. I think the Phoenix was Jean.
Yeah.
And Madeline came after, but just all of that. Fantastic.
Now the scene with Cable running up, Mom,
and her and her noticing his eyes and everything, and then him slipshotting away and saying "not again," meaning
he's been there before.
Yeah,
it's happened.
It's happened before. So what's going on? And we haven't seen Bishop either. Is Bishop trying to stop Cable from fucking up the timeline? Because remember,
language.
Sorry, messing up the timeline. Sorry, because they were antagonists, and they, So I'm wondering, like, what's going on? They in the span of like 30 minutes, they have dropped so many seeds that they can come from anywhere. But let's talk about the Gambit in the room. PG-13 rules, you get one. Okay, thank you. That was my one for the show. I appreciate it.
Oh, do I get one?
No.
Okay.
So let's talk about the Gambit in the room. Gambit went out like a G. Straight up G. Straight up.
I loved he saved Rogue. He's like, nope, you ain't gonna die today.
Yeah, he ain't dead though.
You don't think so?
No,
I can't feel
comics. This is comics. Someone was posting on X or Twitter.
I just call it Twitter. Screw that X.
That Mr. Sinister's gonna recreate him.
Oh,
and we're gonna get that dark Gambit. And
so I want to say two things about Gambit.
Sure.
I love how they wrote him saving the Morlocks, because in the comic books he's the reason why the Morlocks were massacred.
Yeah,
I loved that twist. I love that it made him even more of a good guy in the realm of the animated series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a stand-up guy.
And two, I think he's dead. But I don't think Magneto's dead, because I think Magneto could have built, because he had enough cars around him, buried himself in metal with the Morlocks and Leech.
Oh, yeah.
And put him underground.
Oh, yeah, Magneto's not dead.
I don't think
Magneto's not dead.
I think Gambit's dead.
Gambit is not dead. Gambit is dead, but he will come back.
Okay.
I don't think Gambit is going to stay dead. No, they're not going to do that. I believe that Rogue is going to wear her black shroud and go through all this angsty stuff. But Gambit is not dead. Gambit will be back.
So in their
Trust.
backstory, did you
Trust.
notice she had on one of my favorite Rogue costumes? In the backstory with Magneto, she had on that green tunic with the white piping.
Oh yeah.
Loved.
And you see that she was in her Savage Land costume.
She was in her Savage Land during the painting. Like, they are taking just pieces of my past and putting it in this. So
what's great is you don't have, and that's why it's an Easter egg, because you don't have to explain it to season fans. Season fans would be like, oh, this is during the time when they were in the Savage Land, and I think as readers, longtime readers, we're able to accept that just happened in their past.
Right.
We don't need more exposition than that, and that's fine.
Interesting that Mystique was white. She was a human.
Yeah.
In front of Magneto. And I wonder if they did that as a choice.
Oh, or maybe that was Destiny.
So I don't know if our great watchers, followers, I don't know what to call them. The people watching us, the watchers.
The watchers.
The watchers, if the watchers watching us caught the watcher shows up right before an event happens. And the Watcher showed up.
I don't think that's
before everything went down.
I don't think that's the Watcher.
Why? Who do you think it is?
Cassandra Nova.
See, that's who I was gonna say.
Look at the face and the big ass head. That's not a curse.
Big ass head, and then you have the back collar and the front collar.
No. I don't think that's the Watcher, because it looks like some Yoda. It's like it's giving me Yoda.
No, I think it's the Watcher.
I don't think it's the Watcher.
I do.
I don't think it's the Watcher. I think it's someone else.
But you've already said her name, so I do believe the person behind this is going to be Cassandra Nova. I really do.
And that's what's gonna bring Xavier back to Earth.
I don't know, but I really think she was behind it. I really do.
One thing I was really kind of sad about.
What?
And I don't know.
Marrow. You were sad that Marrow finally got shown in the animated show, and she dead. I was very heartbroken.
Was not. No,
I didn't
care about that at all.
I was upset.
I was like, "Who is that?" Okay, whatever.
Anyway, you shut your mouth.
No, what I didn't like was the fact that, is it me, or is Magneto a little bit weaker? Like.
Well, it took him. It took that weird memory jaunt for him to launch the train. So maybe he is a little weaker.
I don't know, because I don't know. I'd expected a little bit more from the Master of Magnetism, unless he's going to get like a severe upgrade or something. I mean, I guess you can't make him super OP, because then no one can defeat him.
Correct.
But it's just like, damn, I wish he was. I don't know. Like, we're really seeing, they're really like making him a lot less, godly. Than he is, unless he's holding back. I don't know why he would hold back against Sentinel, but I need him to rip loose a little bit more, like he did in the second episode. So
this episode is still being talked about. On my lunch break today, I went through Twitter, and it's still being talked about. The writer of the episode has come out. I sent it to Des, but it was too long for him to read. He likened this episode to a 9/11, a Pulse massacre, because he used to go to the Pulse. He said that the first 4 episodes were your reintroduction, the OG, and then Trauma is the next half of the series, basically. And the last 3 episodes actually have Extinction in the title. So I'm curious, Des, do you think we're going to get a Krakoan era in one of the seasons of X-Men?
Oh, one of the seasons, probably, but not now.
No. But do you think maybe, I don't know, halfway through season 2, they will adapt the whole, 5?
I hope not.
Rebirth? You don't want that?
I don't want that. It's too fresh. It's too new. It's too soon. They have much more continuity to get through before they even talk about the Krakoan era. Let the Krakoan era die, and let it just be, let it be missed for a while before we start, going back to that well. No.
Okay. Next question. Next question. If that's not the case, we don't know where this is heading. Probably mutants are going to unite now against whoever, Cassandra Nova probably. Where do you see them? I don't want to say refilling, but a lot of mutants just died. Are we going to go down to a 198 situation?
No, I don't think we're gonna do that either. I think what's gonna happen is Charles is gonna come back. They're gonna fix what's up, and then he's gonna go back to the stars because he was doing stuff with Elandra, and then we're gonna get the Gabriel Summers arc, and we're gonna have a Shi'ar arc that's in space.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That was a really big.
Is it because in the intros they keep showing us Lilandra and the Shi'ar? Do you think?
I do think that we're going to get a space because if you remember correctly, right in the 90s, there was that whole thing where the Skrulls were trying to take over, and the Skrull King or whatever took over as Professor X, and they had that huge thing that happened in space in the Shi'ar Empire and Deathbird and all that stuff. You know, that's really good place where they could go, as well as the whole Messiah thing with Gabriel Summers. So I think that whole thing, connecting those two stories together in like a space opera thing would be really great, because one thing that Cyclops is continually, talking about is absentee fatherism and loss. So this is a perfect time to bring his brother Alex into the picture, as well as his dad Corsair. That's why I think we're going to go into space.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where we're going, but I do know that I'm glad it got, like you said, a season 2 and 3.
I'm here for it.
10 episodes is not enough, especially when you're giving us this.
I hope we get 12 and then 14, and then they just start like giving it the money. Come on.
One more question.
What's up?
This is all stuff on Twitter I've been reading. People, speculating. The other one was, if the whole thing with the X-Men and the mansion, like you said about kids, what if this leads to yet another school situation?
That's what I mean. It's going to be that's what's going to happen.
Do you think we're going back to an actual school to keep mutants safe?
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to open up all the refugees or whatever are going to go to Westchester, and that's what's going to spin off the New Mutant series.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen, and Professor X is going to come back, deal with his sister, and then he's going to take a group of folks, and they're going to go out into space. And
that's where we'll get them.
And then, so we'll have the main team, the main X-Men in space doing their thing, and then we'll have the New Mutants on Earth doing their thing. That way, you can know what's going on, and they're not conflicting with each other. So you have your Terran-based thing, and then the other one.
Interesting. Hello,
Hi,
Kenneth.
What we do know,
yes,
what we do know is that Marvel
Captain America's coming.
No, that Marvel. I know, but still, that's not what I'm talking about. We do know that there are 3 new X books that are coming out that are basically after the Krakoan era, which is kind of crazy. And they have been, they let us know. So, like I said, everything 90s is new again.
What are we talking about first?
X-Force, because we're going to do it in order.
Okay, X-Force. The world is broken, and mutant kind's solution is X-Force.
I don't know. It's led by Forge. Although it looks like he got a blowout kit in this picture.
He did. His hair is huge.
Yeah, he's got like that sort of wavy, like he's Becky with the good hair.
You know who I thought it was at first? I thought it was Grey Crow.
No, I didn't. I thought it was because I got the arms mixed up.
Yeah.
And I thought it was Thunderbird.
Oh.
But that's the red guy's arms from the back.
Right. So that is Tank. I guess Tank came from Ironheart.
Okay.
I have never read Ironheart, but that is Tank. So the other people in it, this is going to be Rachel Summers, Betsy Braddock, Sage, Surge, and Tank.
Yeah, so we get the lesbians that are together in a story.
Yep.
I think it's really kind of cool. And I think that it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to be doing, because this definitely doesn't strike me as a pacifist team, but it doesn't strike me as a kill first, ask questions later kind of team
Right.
either.
So
So
Deadpool is there in the first arc, and then the writer is going to rotate out other guest stars
that's good.
depending on where the book goes. I mean, the
Yeah,
writer
because
knows. He
I
just
would
can't say
hope.
anything.
Yeah, I mean, Deadpool at this point doesn't really, make me stand up and cheer or anything.
Yeah, same.
I do think that Ford's leading a team is fantastic. He's always been overshadowed,
Sage is back.
and I think Sage is great, and I think the two of them make a really good complement to each other because
Same.
they can talk to each other about what's going on and they can process things at a much faster rate. I think the love story between Rachel and is Betsy, sorry, it's going to be really fun, and I want to see what that is, and I don't know what's going to go on with Surge and Tank. Those two seem to be the wild cards, but
Yeah.
this seems like a very traditional looking team. So
I love that they're in the black and the red, which is very what were they called?
Black and the red.
Yeah, it was Sage's team when they were looking for the Destiny's Diaries.
Extreme
Extreme X-Men.
Very 90s.
Oh, very 90s. But I want to say, I thought Rachel was Teresa. I thought she was Siren. And I was like, oh, and then when you blow it up, you see the lines on the face.
Yeah, I thought it was Siren too at first. And I thought, oh.
I got more excited about Siren than Rachel. Sorry.
I want to see their romance. I want to see what's going to happen with that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Next one is Jean Grey getting her own series
and going to the stars.
And she's going to the stars again. Yep. This is why I think this is why I think the X-Men 97 are going to space, because these X-Men are going into space. And I do think that her leaving is going to be an exile for her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think she's going to do something with the Phoenix or bond to the Phoenix permanently, while trapping the Enigma in the white hot room. I do believe that's what's going to happen.
That's
good. And so she gets the Phoenix gets reborn and traps Enigma in the white hot room. And so the Phoenix now has to choose a host, and that's always going to be Jean Grey. And so now Jean is like, I can't be here anymore. I need to leave, and she's going to leave. Charles is gone. I think she's going to leave. And she's
I think Charles is Prisoner X.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So, but I believe that the reason why she's leaving is because something along the lines of what happened in X-Men Forever, and her and Charles probably did something, or they came together and did something in order to rectify everything. But she has to leave though, because of what she did. That's what I believe.
All right. I love that cover. That cover is gorgeous.
Fantastic.
I know it's not going to be the inside art, but that is a cover to make me go, hey, I got to pick this book up.
I don't know how long it's going to last, because I think
9 issues.
I think Jean Grey works better with a team than by herself, and I really hope that she doesn't fall. I hope she doesn't, fall prey to what happens with like Captain Marvel or something like that. Like I think that she's a great character, but she works better on a team. So good for her. I will check it out to see how it goes, and we will be reviewing it.
Oh yeah, we'll be reviewing it.
And then last but not least,
nope, not yet.
I call this one NY Angst.
NY Angst, starring Ms. Marvel.
Who's like the oldest teen ever. She's been in so many teen books. I'm like, girl, please.
And then we have Wolverine and Prodigy and Sophie Cuckoo.
Which Wolverine is this? There's like 3 of them running around.
That's Laura.
But that's not the one that was in love with Sync. That's got to be another one.
That's the real one. The one with Sync was the one that was in the vault for millions of years or whatever.
Sync's got to do something. She's stuck in his head.
So the whole thing about this is right now, Laura is with Sabretooth trying to stay alive.
Yeah, that whole weird thing.
Yes.
With the Wolf Sabretooth war and all that.
I'm gonna be real honest here, because I'm real honest on this show. Sometimes I get canceled, but I'm not gonna be canceled. But I think this team stinks. I am like, did they have all these names in a hat, and this is the ones they picked?
Well, they said there's an influx. There's an influx of mutants now that Krakoa is gone, and New York City is the place to be. And so I don't like. And I think it's crazy is like Miss Marvel's from Jersey, so you go home. Like you have a
I
family.
know.
It's
And
like-
then Sophie is the one I believe that is in love with Quentin.
so where's Quentin?
So, well, Quentin is over in the.
He's dead, right?
Which
Or
no,
he's
no.
back now. I
Well,
thought.
he's dead. Right? He's ahead.
He's ahead.
He's ahead in a machine that
I don't know.
Sabretooth is controlling. But no, which team is he on? He is on
He's on X Factor. No,
No,
sorry,
just-
X Force.
just X-Men.
Oh no, Quentin
He's
Quire
on-
is on.
No, coming up.
Oh,
He's gonna be
he's
on-
on the
Just
my-
X-Men.
yes, just the X-Men one.
And I'm trying to see where they are. They're in Alaska. So
Long distance relationships.
that
can
is going to
work.
be one long distance relationship. Yes.
So I don't know. I think out of every X book that they have announced, I do believe that this is the weakest. I don't know.
Oh.
There's nothing really pulling me to this book that makes me really say like, oh, I really need to watch. I really need to watch this. I really need to read.
You need to
this.
watch this. Well, there's
I mean-
two gay characters in it, so we should be happy that there's two gay representation.
Well,
characters.
Prodigy is bisexual.
So there's one gay character on this book
And one
with
and
one.
bisexual
yes.
character. And then you never know about these Wolverines,
You
they'll-
yeah, you never do.
and her what is it? Her trigger scent.
I'm really not a fan of this costume. It looks too big for her.
Yes, thank you, Experience. Two queer characters.
Yes, I'm
Probably
old.
more. I don't know what to expect with this book. I will pick it up and read it. I just don't know. Like again, there's nothing really drawing me into it, and they're really trying to make Miss Marvel stick. And I
She's
think
not even wearing her X costume.
no,
She's back to
not-
her old. I don't know.
So,
I don't know. I don't know.
So again, we're just gonna chalk it up to a big question mark. Boop. And you can join us when we talk about all of these books and
in July.
in July because
In July.
it'll take that long for the X-Men to hit the ground.
Yeah. Put it on your calendars.
Oh my lord. So we were supposed to do other stuff on this show, but because we wanted to really talk about X-Men 97 and the new books, I'm kind of X-Men out. So for our next and final 30 minutes,
Four
gonna talk-
number ones.
we're going to talk about all of the stuff that came out from Ghost Machine. So Geoff Johns' imprint. So we're going to talk about all those, and we'll pick another one out of the hat. So
No.
what do you want to?
I
What do you-
want to talk about monsters are our business.
Okay, totally fine. I think that's a really good one to end the show on. So
Yes, me too.
so stay with us. We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Stay tuned.
What do you call the place on Spider-Man's wrists where the webs come out? His website. I hate myself for writing that joke, but you'd make me feel so much better if you just visited our website. We have links to our merch, new release lists, all the show info, and so much more. TheEXPLive.com.
Ask your local comic shop to add Battle Quest comics to your pull list today. Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
Hey everyone, welcome back. You are watching the Geek Chat on The Experience. I'm Rich.
I'm Des.
You're Des.
I'm
And
Des.
I want to remind everyone, at 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, is Sketch Up with Mog and Mel. And their guest tonight is Drew Moss, artist of the newest run of Thundercats, which I cannot wait to review. We're gonna wait to review them. Let a couple get in. There's a lot of new books coming out from Dynamite. I'm really excited about. I'm really excited about the Space Ghost book. Really looking forward to that. But tonight we are reviewing some books from Image Comics imprint called Ghost Machine. 3 of them were released, all number 1s. And Drew was actually reached out to The Experience. That is awesome. He was a fan of SketchUp before he got the Thundercats gig.
Yeah. Hi, Lorena.
Hi, Lorena. So yeah, be sure to watch them. And yeah, they're pretty good. They're fun. They're a bunch of artists are drawing, and they're all talking, and it's this big jam party. I've watched a couple of them. They're really good. They're fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
first one up.
What?
First one up is Geiger.
Geiger
Counter. So this is written by the creators are Geoff Johns and Gary Frank. Colors by Brad Anderson and letters by Rob Lay. There was a bunch of covers. Well, just 2 actually. Well, no, there was 3 covers. And yeah, so
I just want to say, all the bees, your cat is going at it. All the bees were one giant image. It was really cool. Yeah, the bees were really fun.
I didn't get a B.
You didn't. You got the A.
I got the A.
Okay. So Geiger. I was not reading Geiger before they launched this. I wasn't reading any of the side stories before they launched this. This was my first, the Ghost Machine one-shot that came out about a month ago.
Yeah,
that was my first introduction.
I read the first Geiger book way back in, I want to say 2020, 2021. So it came out, and it didn't really cause any at least in my opinion, it didn't really cause that many waves. It's kind of like a reluctant superhero story, reluctant kind of Superman story, and a post-apocalyptic world. So I was like, okay, we have seen this narrative before. Let's see what we can do with it. What Geoff Johns and Gary Frank can do with it. And they're a pretty trusted brand because of their DC work. So I was like, okay, let's see. That first Geiger book, though, was just kind of like, I read that first issue and I was just like, okay. And it didn't really make me want to continue the story. Now I will pick it up. I will pick it up and trade and read it. But for this relaunch of this character, it seems like it's pretty much a fresh retelling of this character. They haven't really got too much into his backstory that much, but it's just a guy who survived a nuclear explosion and was granted these powers, this radiation like powers. And he has these 2 kind of like rods that he's able to ground himself with. And that's what he uses to beat the crap out of people. So
a little Nightwing, a little Captain Atom,
Yep,
a
that's pretty.
little
Uh,
Phosphorus Man,
a little Daredevil mixed in because
Daredevil with the batons.
no, the Daredevil because of he's always like, I'm not a hero.
Oh,
So it's one of those
that
kind
was
of
a
things.
theme between all three books. That was the only thing that really brought me down with these books, was that they're all kind of D's.
Wow.
But in
Wow.
the world that they are in, it's expected to be. You're not expected to be happy or nice. Like, I get it, but I read Geiger I read Exodus and Geiger, and Redcoats was the one I really didn't want to read. So I read that yesterday, and they all have the same kind of grumpiness to them. That's my
Well,
one thing I got to say about it.
well, they're all kind of shades of the same protagonist, and I think that's just because Geoff Johns writes. He writes that protagonist.
Yes.
He wrote that character. I mean, it's basically his Black Adam.
Right.
They all these are different shades of his Black Adam type character, just set in different timelines. Sorry, set in different time frames, because all three of these books, I guess, are tied.
Happen on one timeline.
Yeah, happen on one timeline. So you have Geiger that's way in the future, then you have Exodus, which is kind of in the middle, and then you have Redcoat that's in the past.
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
Redcoat started in 1776.
Yep.
And then there's a whole bunch of other things we haven't seen yet.
Yep.
And then you get, let's see, The Unknown War, which is what two of the books are part of with the Unnamed.
Yep.
And then Geiger is 26 years from now.
Yeah, and then you have like Junkyard Joe, and you have all these other characters that were introduced, which are going to be introduced later in the run of this kind of life of this Ghost Machine project.
October, we get new books.
Yeah, so it's just interesting, and I don't know. I thought that he had this, and then he has this guy that's like a knight that's following him that has half his face is burnt off because of radiation, and then he sees him as a savior, and he wants to do better because of what Geiger did. So the guy's trying to please, be my sensei. I want to learn from you to be a better person. And Geiger's like, I don't want to do this. But then he's like, there's another person that I know of that has cured themselves. I can help you. I want to help you find that person. So the two of them go off, and then they're being chased by this guy who has like electric based powers or another similar power set or something. So for that one, it was a very standard affair. Like, I think that's the one thing about all of these books was they were very standard superhero or standard kind of starts that you would see in most comic books. So nothing really stood out except for Exodus. I thought Exodus was the one, a Rook Exodus. I think that was the one that Geoff Johns really kind of took a lot more of interesting, fun liberties with. I enjoyed that one more than all the other ones.
So for Geiger, I gotta say the art, Gary Frank. I mean, the panels were great. Like, everything was he's on his game here, and you can tell why, because he owns it, or he co-owns it.
Yeah, he co-owns it with everybody. So like all the artists in here knock it out of the park. Like that's not like the art is just amazing in all three of the books.
Yes.
It's just a lot of this stuff. It just reads very kind of like average comic book stuff.
Well, it's just like a #1 at DC. Like,
yeah.
It's a new take on characters. So, Rook Exodus was also my favorite one. I enjoyed this one more than I did the other two. I liked the other two, but when it came down to the story and how it was presented, I liked this one more. And I also like I just it's a personal preference for me, but I also like animal based. Like I like when you
Mhm.
do something, and while control or a push over an animal isn't anything new in comic books, the added helmet and the fact that it's government, like I like the different layers Johns added. And I've always been a Geoff Johns fan.
Yeah.
He gets a bad rap for some things, he gets a great rap for other things. I'm judging him on these 3 books or
Yeah.
2 books. Oh no.
No, he wrote all of them.
He wrote all these
He wrote
books.
all of them. This is like the Geoff Johns show right now.
Yeah.
Jason Farbuck was the other creator on this who did the art.
Yep.
And Brad Anderson and Rob Layers, the colors, they basically colored and lettered everything in this, so everything was done in house with them. But again, I like this story because the one thing about that Geoff Johns does is kind of annoying, but I guess he had to do this. Maybe, I don't know, was the exposition dumps about what's happening to set up the world. It just seems like there's better ways to do that than these giant,
a lot of text boxes,
a lot of blocky captions about stuff that's happening. And I think Geoff Johns did that the least in Rook. He did that the least in Rook.
Oh, Red Coat was full from front to back.
Yes, Jay. It was pretty thick, and I think out of all of them, it was the best read too. Like everything that was happening, and then the Exodus, explaining why people had to leave, and now that they're leaving to go someplace else, where are they going? Who knows? Back to Earth maybe, and then you have these people with these helmets that can control or work with the animals, but they don't have full control over them, and the animals are getting hungry and stuff like that. So, and then the big bear kind of animal. So now they're fighting with each other. So I don't know. I think out of all of them, Rook was the one that I'm probably gonna stick with out of all of them. And my least favorite one was Redcoat, only because it really seemed, the Wolf Girl is really cool. She'll show up and kick everyone's ass in the next one. Watch. Redcoat seemed a lot like Archer and Armstrong. It sounded a lot like the Armstrong guy in that book. We've had immortals who are scoundrels, who are trying to get over, on the world, and having Benjamin Franklin be a part of this Mennonite kind of thing, like that's like we get it, Benjamin Franklin wasn't a nice guy, and yes, there were certain things about Mennonites and like magic cults and the founding fathers, so I thought that stuff was kind of cool, but they didn't really do anything. He didn't really do anything with it or say that there's anything else, and then you add like Albert Einstein into it. And there's something else going on, so maybe the magic is coming back. I just didn't like his introduction. I thought it needed to move a little bit more, or something needed to happen, because just showing him as a scoundrel was just kind of boring.
And it was too. Yes, I'm gonna echo that, because, like I said, this was the one I was least.
Yeah, GG version of Highlander. Yeah, you're right.
I was not looking forward to reading this. I held it off a day. I read the other 2 and I was very happy. And I was like, I'm going to wait. Now, I love Brian Hitch. Brian Hitch is an amazing artist.
Oh, yeah. Again, looks great. The art looks great.
It looks amazing. But I feel like we did the same thing over and over and over. We get it. He's immortal. He's done things. Move on. Like, I really feel like half this book, it's like me in a movie. I can tell you what parts needed to be edited out.
Oh, yeah.
Because the movie's too damn long.
Yeah.
This book, I would like the 1 and the 2, and then let me put together a nice however long this is. Because I didn't need 3 or 4 panels of him running from whatever, and then the woman puts the light in the thing, and I was like, oh my God. And this was very text heavy. And like, I'm not a stupid person. I like to read. That's why I read comic books. But you do have a lot of the same things being said over and over. And it was when they finally got into it, and he the whole thing with Ben Franklin, like when the book actually had a little something going on.
Yeah.
He fell from the rafters, and like, okay, he gets his powers, and then you go and do it again. and then you go and do it again, him running from people.
I did like his exposition about when the first time he ended up in a coffin, and then
Yeah.
he died again and then woke up.
Yeah, because that
and
adds to the character.
I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. And then like him learning how to get out, and then Albert Einstein. So
A young Albert Einstein.
So part of me wants to see what's going on, and it's kind of intriguing, but at the same time, I just really do not like the character.
Yeah. So for me, I'm gonna say if you're looking for something new, a new number one, hit up your comic book store for Rook Exodus. And then I gotta say I liked this new introduction to Geiger. But if you just need one book, Rook Exodus for me is the one. I think
that's the one to get.
Not only is the story like you go through things,
we have to wait. We have to wait for Junkyard.
We have to wait.
October.
I was quite sad because I actually kind of liked the character that died. I think he got the wrong end of the stick. I'm like, oh, because they teased us in that one shot, Ghost Machine, and then he bites it here, and I was like, oh, why you gotta die?
Which one?
The boar.
Oh yeah, the whole guy. Yeah.
I liked him.
Off. Yeah.
But I also really liked that you see this character from when he was on Earth. Like you see all the sides of him from when he was struggling, going to the new place because his dad did the whole burn. Now, wait, I have a question.
Sure.
His backstory was his dad set fire.
Supposedly, he's saying it was arson, and he says it is not arson.
What book was that in?
That was Exodus.
No.
Yeah, it was.
That was something else we've read where, it was a TV show or something where something got burned down, and it was for some. I don't know.
You know what? It happens a lot in the Midwest, so there's burning stuff down for insurance all the time. Who knows?
But the costume designs, even though they're not costumes, this is not a superhero book, but I like it because it has aspects in the science fiction of superpowers, and I live for that. I love it. And then Geiger was good because, again, like we said, he's all these different heroes we've seen fully formed. And then there's Redcoat, who is a scoundrel immortal.
Yeah.
Woo.
So we'll see. I mean, if anything, if I know a thing about Geoff Johns, we're gonna start seeing these show up in various different streaming services. So
probably
watch for Redcoats on Netflix.
Now the book I actually really, really, really liked this week, and I'm glad we're ending it on a really positive note. I loved this book. It's from Dark Horse Comics. It's called Monsters Are My Business, and it is by Cullen Bunn. Art was by Patrick Piazzalunga. Colors by Marco Bracco. The letters were Jim Campbell, and the cover was by Patrick Piazzalunga. And I believe that's how you say that last name. I thought this book was fun. It was great to look at. I loved the art. Huh?
It was bloody.
It was bloody. It's a koala with a chainsaw. Yes, that's the other half of it. And my business is bloody. I love it.
So I've read a lot of Cullen Bunn stuff.
Yeah.
And Cullen Bunn is known for his more grotesque,
horror-tinged.
Yeah, his more grotesque storytelling. And so to see this book in such a way that was a lot more, I want to say, kid-friendly looking, and then to have it be this kind of bloody and the koala chopping people up,
chainsaw koala,
and dark gods and so
necromancy,
elder gods and stuff. So I'm kind of like, So I was very taken aback because I'm thinking, oh wow, Cullen Bunn did an all ages book, and then I opened it up.
But it's not all ages.
This is not an all ages book.
So I love that the woman that's with him, Hillary, she already has his soul. Like your soul's mine. I love it.
Don't get it.
Die.
Don't die because I need to sacrifice you later. So
it was funny It made sense. The story set up who these people were.
And it went from
If
A
you-
to B.
Yes, we got somewhere. We have some dire situations.
The thing that I really liked, which I thought was kind of interesting, that you don't really see that much, although you have seen it before, was you have this seasoned, gritty monster killer having to protect a monster for some reason.
Yeah.
That was the package, was this weird looking eldritch demon thing with all these eyes and stuff that he has to protect now. So you have this antagonist that goes against character. And that's a fun thing to explore in a book. You know, someone who is so devout and so like, you know, this is who I am. This I eat, breathe, and sleep, you know, this slaying monsters. And now I have to care for one.
Right.
You know, that's literally what, you know, the Mandalorian is. You know, that's that kind of storytelling. And I think it's fun when you have it framed with like elder gods and necromancy and stuff like that. So it was fun. And then I don't get the koala yet. It's just the murderous little koala that is his buddy. So I mean, I'm here for it. I think it's fun.
One of the things I really loved were the colors.
The blood, though. Yeesh.
It was bloody, but I liked how different
Like the
pages
chainsaw
were
axe.
tinged green, tinged blue, tinged red. The book just flowed. I think this was a really good number one.
Yeah, it had a bit of Roberto Ramos in it. It had a bit of that very kind of loose, you know, comic cartoonish style that kept it light in lieu of the craziness that's happening.
Yes, Preston, they are.
Yes, Preston says, I always suspected koalas are murderous little bastards, and this one is.
Beasts, that's two.
Yeah, beasts. No, you can say bastards. It's not
You cannot.
That's not a bad one.
Okay. Fun fact to end the show on, everyone. Eucalyptus leaves contain barely more energy than it takes to digest them, so koalas survive by moving as little as possible. Des, you should start eating.
Actually, and to tell you the truth, the eucalyptus gets them high, so they're literally just sitting there eating.
Stoned?
Yeah, they're sitting there eating stone.
They don't move.
But supposedly they all have herpes too, so you're supposed to watch out for that. So never kiss a koala if you don't have to. So
why would I?
You know,
chlamydia.
Oh, it's chlamydia. Yes, see, it's chlamydia. Yeah, they all have it.
Nasty. Koalas are nasty, murderous little bastards.
And actually, their claws are incredibly sharp. So just watch out. Koalas are kind of crazy. We
need to make a comic book with a stoned koala, a stoned killer koala.
Yes, Sure. I mean, I'm surprised there's not anyone out there. We should ask Jen if she has an indie comic about teenage stoned killer koalas, you know, from New York. Say that 5 times fast. Killer mutant, killer super high, koala killer
bears,
koala bears. Okay, we're just crazy now. So anyway, thank you all so much for coming in and listening to us
rattle on about freaking X-Men for an hour. I apologize if you came for comic books, but we had to talk about it, and we didn't even say everything I wanted to say.
He was about to blame it on me, but yeah, X-Men. That's the show to beat right now, folks. Like seriously, that's the show to beat. And
real quick.
Okay.
The latest Transformers issue, number 6.
Not by Daniel J. He's still writing it, but he's not.
He's still writing it. Oh, I don't have it by me.
He took a break.
Yes, Jorge Corona. I believe that's how you say his name. He is the new artist. It's still gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
It is not anything pretty. It is still rough. It is still gritty. It is still Transformers. The battle between Starscream and Soundwave. Wait till you find out who wins.
It's like
it's so good.
I'm just surprised at like how brutal everything is. And
Cobra Commander has been amazing and brutal.
Like, y'all need to just like chill. There's gonna be no one left.
Yeah.
You know, like seriously. So As always, want to say thank you so much for taking the time to come in. Tell your friends about us.
Yes.
Like, share, and subscribe. Please know that there are tons of other fantastic creators who are content creators that are making content for the experience. Every day of the week, you can tune in and find something interesting and fun to watch, whether it's talking heads like Rich and I,
comic
sales, variant comics for sales. We want to do it. Experience says Far Cry from a cartoon where no one ever hits anyone with a laser bullet. Yes.
Head to Comic Shopping Experience, as Des was saying, to see what's on and find your favorites and subscribe, and come back with us next Thursday,
in which we will be talking about more comic books, unless the X-Men just blow it out of the water. We have to talk about that another episode 6. Oh, I can't see. I can't wait. 10 is not enough. 10 is not enough.
Let me see. I'll tell you.
10 is not enough.
Next week's episode is called... I have the menu thing here.
He's rushing to the internet right now as we speak.
It's called Life Death Part 2 is next week.
So we finally get to see what happened to Storm in the atmosphere.
We're going to get that. Yep. And then it's Bright Eyes on April 24th. And then Tolerance is Extinction, parts 1, 2, and 3.
It's too quick. It's too quick. Marvel. Kevin Feige, if you're watching, you probably
ain't watching.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome if he was.
He's a lurker. He's somewhere else. He's a lurker. Yeah, please give us more. Give us more. This animation is kicking it. Even if you don't make any X-Men movies, just keep the animation rolling, please. Please. Now I'm all worried they're going to mess up if they make a movie.
I know.
So, but on that note, just want to say thank you again. I'm Desmond.
I'm Rich. You're watching the Geek Chat.
And we'll see you next Thursday. Bye.
Bye.